Greetings and beyond the new. My name is Omni, and welcome to the current installment of What If Deku Was the Reincarnation of Jugo, Part 7. So, where we last left off, Gentle and Rabamba had just saved Todoroki. Then Endeavor actually berates Deku in front of the entirety, but Deku just ignores him so he can go see how Todoroki is doing. Todoroki is pretty much fine, but he told Gentle and La Brava to take him to Recovery Girl. And they say, "Hi, Sensei." Everyone is shocked to see that two new probationary heroes, that's what I'm going to be calling them, are actually called a student sensei. But then every other match goes like in canon, yada yada yada. Then we go to let's see. Okay, now we go to where the fight between Bakugo and let's see. Deku start to fight. And before Midnight says begin, Deku says his catchphrase, which is going to be something similar to it's like the catchphrase of one of the teens from a spin-off series of Total Drama Island, and which in the canon one for it is time to evil, but I'm going to do time to hero. And when Midnight and every other girl that's going to be in his harem, which are all the female teachers, which in UA and all the pro heroines that take front and center, enter in the anime that have multiple large speaking parts, not background characters that just have one or two lines. The ones that are integral to the story. And all the girls in Class 1A and Class 1B hear this and say, "No way." Because over the few summers that he meets every of the girls, including the Wild Pussycats especially, realize that that's the boy they met when all those years ago. Midnight shakes her head and says, "Begin." Bakugo and Deku start launching each other. Bakugo with his explosions, saying, "Damn you, nerd!" And Deku fully transforms, jets off, and says, "I am tired of you calling me a nerd! Or the explosive Pomeranian!" And then this makes everyone laugh a little. which makes Bakugo even more mad. Now you die! Then Deku says, I'd like to see you try. Okay, so yeah, anywho, Bakugo will, when they get close enough, Bakugo sends out a barrage of explosions. Deku uses, his arms and makes shields with it that have two purposes. That, that absorb the kinetic energy and the smoke from Bakugo's explosions. And then in his left hand, a sphere here pops out of his wrists. A sphere on his left wrist and a sphere on his right wrist. Then he makes a nozzle. Then he turns his hand into like a nozzle for both of them. Well, actually, for his left, it's a nozzle, while for his hand, it's like a mic, like a a horn. Okay. The one on his left is sphere is filled with smokes. It's filled with the smoke, while the kinetic energy is in his right. Right. So yeah. Anywho, then he starts jetting off into the sky, and then blows all the smoke out that he absorbed. Then changes his hand back to normal. Then with one hand he used particle clone jutsu. He makes one clone only, and sends it to that he's trying to do a direct attack on Bakugo. Bakugo explodes the clone, which temporarily also acts like a flat. And then Deku in his mind saying particle flash clone in his head. This stuns Bakugo. Oh, and then from the back, Deku lets out all the concussive forces out of his other hand and launches Bakugo, but he manages to Bakugo decides to launch himself up into the air again. He regains his vision. He sees Deku is gone, but behind him a door opens, sort of like the door fruit from One Piece that Bluno from the CP9 power uses, but it's known as particle door. So yeah. Anywho, now and then he uses particle bullets, but he makes them weak enough where it only stuns him. He stuns both of his hands, then grabs Bakugo all by his legs, and then spins his entire body like a top up, and then throws Bakugo to the ring. And Bakugo manages to see Deku coming around. He's still paralyzed in his hands. So then he decides to try something that he's been working on, which it will be explosions from his feet. Let's see. Forehead. That he can throw out explosions from the rest of his body. Okay, so yeah. He uses his feet to propel himself, but then he's on his stomach, so he uses even though I'm going to say that he's found a way to make every part of his body that sweat. So he then launches himself up into the sky with a combination of explosions from his feet and his stomach, which really opens up his gym uniform. So yeah, Deku was shocked about this, but he knew he would develop new techniques, but he didn't see. He thought he would only develop his feet because those sweat, and never thought that Bakugo would use explosions from any of his other parts of his body that sweat or that don't rarely sweat. Okay, so yeah, anywho, let's get back into the fight. Okay, so he uses his feet to Bakugo uses his feet to propel himself, but using a combination of his let's see, stomach and back, and his elbows, to maneuver. Deku then uses particle style, multi-particle clone jutsu, and makes 50 particle clones. They manage to corner him. Baku then propels himself to what he thinks is the original Deku, but is actually a particle clone. And when he makes contact with it, Deku uses particle style, particle clone, flash jutsu. So he's blinded once again. Then all the particle clones. Then he uses a alternate version of Naruto's Naruto Uzumaki Barrage. So he says, 5 clones launch him up and further into the air, saying, "Ease." Then more clones launch him up even further, "Zoo," saying "Zoo." And then all the other clones, then 5. Let's see. Okay, so he made 50 clones, and owns 5. I've launched him up even higher 3 times, saying each of it, saying Ku, which a total of 15. And then finally, the other 35 clones clones decide to make sure that if he so he doesn't escape. And then finally the real Deku, oh wait, no. I mean the other 34 clones, which because one already exploded because he uses particle style clone flash jutsu. So like basically it means when it gets dispelled, it does it's like punching a flash grenade, activating it. Okay, so yeah. Anywho, then Deku uses a drop kick and says, well, Midoriya Barrage! Sending him right down to the ground. The 15 clones that launched him even further caught him, and then they restrained him. And then Deku lands and says, "All right, you moron. Do you yield?" Katsuki says, "Never, you damn nerd." Then Deku sighs, "I didn't want to have to do this, Bakugo. I'm going to have to make this up to Aunt Mitsuki. He orders the clones to start pummeling him, while the 15 that are restraining him. So yeah. Then he's knocked out, yada yada yada. He dispels the clones, and he's the winner of the sports festival. So yeah. But he thinks he's going to have to make it up to Mitsuki, but she actually calls him and says, "I'm really sorry about my brat's behavior towards you, Izuku. Don't worry about it, Aunt Mitsuki. Mitsuki, is my mom there with you?" Yeah. Okay. And now we do a quick flashback to where let's see, where after he's done meeting all the girls that he's in a harem with, it's the last few summers, he trains with Deku. Deku trains with his father's half brother. I'm going to say that their mother was a harlot, and she only cared about getting done by men and then abandoning the man and their child after she gets pregnant and gives birth. So yeah, that's how Deku's dad and his half brother, which is going to be what I like to call Deku's half uncle, who is Rappa from the Shihai Saikai. Hi, and it's just gonna be him sparring against his half uncle. Okay, Flashback over, and now we go. Everything goes like in canon, yada yada yada. Over the week, they do training. Shoto, Aizawa, not only trains, let's see, Shinso, but Shinso also receives a hell curse mark from Deku after being told the backstory, but his and his past life's backstory. Right. Okay, and okay, now for when all the current curse mark users, when they're in their stage 1, All Might's is like let's see, ocean waves that you would see in old Japanese paintings that are just lines. Gentle's first stage curse mark is let's see, are chains. Labravas are, well, roots. Shinso's first stage curse mark is, well, the patterns you see if you look up images of brains. The brain folds. Okay, so yeah, anywho. And I'm going to say what Shinso's second stage curse mark looks like. So it's going to be, let's see. When he's in his second stage curse mark, he'll look like Zark's dragon form from Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5. So yeah, if you don't know who that is, just look it up and you'll see how badass it looks. Okay, so yeah. Okay, so Shinso's training with Eraserhead is him learning how to use the capture scarp and his voice changer support item, because he already figured that he should have something like that before even going to UA. Okay, so yeah. Anywho, and Gentle and Labrava and now Shinso also know All Might's secret about his time limit and the battle 5 years ago that he made sure never was known to the media. Okay, so yeah. Anywho, yada yada yada. Okay, so Deku helps him helps him to learn more discreet ways on getting people to talk to him. And physical training, he's actually spars with Labrava. Ava, he underestimates her at first, but then she gives him a butt whooping. So yeah. Then he starts training with Gentle to... Okay, the physical aspects of his curse mark, Shinso will be training with Labrava, while Gentle will teach him how to deal with a villain that can attack from multiple angles, or multiple villains, like, for example, like Twice, while while All Might teaches him restraint. And Deku actually helps him by not only teaching him more subtle ways to get his opponents to talk to him, to respond to him. So yeah, let's see. He also helps him by let's see what. Oh yeah, get his endurance up more. Okay, so yeah. Anywho, and before the week after the sports festival, they're told to make sure that they don't do anything dumb when people recognize them from the sports festival. Okay, now we do a time skip after. Now we get back into class. Then midnight comes. Then midnight comes around and says, "All right, class, it's time to decide on your hero code names," without Aizawa even being able to utter a sound. And everyone's name is like in canon, yada yada yada. But all the Bakugo's first ones gets rejected. Acted, blah 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 blah. Then he ends up going with Dynamite. But it's more of an acronym, so it will be Dynamite, and after each letter, it will have a period at the instead of a space. In between each of the letters, and you can decide on what each individual word that is what each individual word represents in the word Dynamite. An acronym is like spelling, saying a whole lot of different words, but just saying their first letter in a sort of a word. So yeah. Anywho, now let's see. Okay, and after that, then Midoriya wanted to see how many times that Bakugo's names will get rejected. So yeah. Anywho, who he then comes around and then he presents his name. It's going to be the giving hero, Jugo. Everyone asks why Jugo. Go. And he says, let's just say it's just a name that came to me. Nothing more, nothing less. Okay, then everything goes like in canon. And then yada yada yada. Okay, so Deku, they all go to the internships that they do in canon. Everything goes like in canon. Blah 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 blah. And then we skip to when Stain is about to kill Ida. Deku actually tackles Stain in off of Ida using a full power jets on his entire body. causing him to be a little disoriented. But then that's when, let's see. Todoroki actually grabs Native and let's see. Ida. So yeah, he gets him to safety. Then after Deku gets his bearings, he tries to talk no jutsu Stain by saying, I agree with you that there should be more standards when it comes to heroes. Only those that truly want to be heroes, not for the fame and fortune, either or both, to not be allowed to. And any heroes that do, if they even commit a crime, that it should be made public and they should be punished to the fullest extent of the law. But killing those you deem unworthy is just plain stupid. Bid there, don't you know? And that's where I'm going to be leaving it off. Like, comment, and subscribe, but it just helps me out, but I'm not doing this for that, just doing my own thing and getting out my creative juices. Yes, I said juices. Bye!